Okay, this is really interesting. This is a book written by another of the New Thought teachers who was supposedly taught by Abdullah. Um, but listen to this part about the perfect man. I found this really, really fascinating. Early on the morning of market day, Abdullah, rose and awakened Jethro. Jethro was like his young companion, like an apprentice. June was yet young and hovered over the distant hills with an enchanting freshness. A million diamond dewdrops caught and held the sun a prisoner, reflecting the mysteries of the rainbow. Out over the valley, which was lavishly dotted with flowers and trees, a transparent purple mist foretold the coming day. Abdullah was happy. He felt a thrill that only a mind filled with goodness could feel on the contemplation of the beautiful. Life was so worthwhile. There was so much good to be had for the mere reaching out. There was a constant tonic of youth and health to be drunk from the wonders of nature. After having partaken of breakfast, he and Jethro started toward the east gate with their small load of vases. He was like a vase. He was a potter, right? A potter, the potter's house. Does not the morning with its mystery thrill you? He said to Jethro. And without waiting for his answer, he continued, filling his lungs with the fine morning air. It is good to be alive. It is good to know that you are a perfect man, made in his image and likeness. A perfect man? Questioned Jethro. Just look, Father Abd. Who comes there? And as Abd looked, he saw Jiraj, the herder, coming along. He was a pitiful-looking piece of humanity, to be sure, quite bent over and in ill health. Is he, too, a perfect man? Asked Jethro as they passed on their way. They walked on in silence for a while, and Abdullah said, Jethro, you speak some Greek, a little Egyptian, and Arabic, and in all these languages they have a different symbol for the same numbers. That is, you can give expression to the quantity two in as many different tongues as you know, and while the material symbol in each instance will differ, the quantity remains the same. It is eternally two, and if every symbol that was used to express two were swept away, the quantity two would remain just the same. Age will not add to it nor take from it. This is essentially true of all realities. So is it with the perfect man, made in his image and likeness. The substance of him is perfect and good and cannot change, though the material symbol that represents him may be anything from a hunchback to an athlete. Further, Jethro, when you see a column of figures, some of which are perfectly drawn and others which are poorly made, do you stop for a minute and say, that too is poorly made? I cannot give it the full value of two? No, you give it the full value without ever a thought of taking from it or adding to it because it is larger than the rest. In your mind, it has a fixed value or substance, and that is what you give it, no matter what the symbol looks like. Then, is it not our duty to give the material symbol of man his full inheritance, that of perfection and goodness, and to look beyond the material symbol, just as you do in figures, and reckon the absolute quantity and substance of man made in his image and likeness? What what use would men have for criticism if they had this fact firmly established in their minds? And what a wonderful help and stimulus the world would receive again, to know that every man is perfect, just as he was created. Then criticism is really bearing false witness against thy brother, is it not? Said Jethro. And what other motive could prompt bearing false witness against a man than hate? Yes, said Abdullah, criticism is hate, and with hate in our minds, love cannot enter or abide. But another good point to me, said Abdullah as they walked along, is that while the material symbol for man may appear distorted, with the proper thought and love, he can be made straight and healed of his infirmities. Think of the symbol of the perfect man who lay at the pool of Bethesda for 38 years, and how all that time he was unable to help himself. Is it not appalling to note the lack of right thinking on his part? There he lay, a son of the all-powerful, an image and likeness, governed by one omnipresent, omnipotent law of good, unable to move himself, and all the while the men at the court were giving him the lie and refusing to count him as a perfect man, until one fine day Jesus came by and saw him as a perfect man, with the result that the 38 years of bondage disappeared and the man came to his heritage of dominion, What disease or evil condition can present itself as permanent when we stop for a minute to realize that we are perfect, created so by God and sustained eternally by Him? Was it not through Daniel's realization of the indestructible qualities of the perfect man that he escaped the jaws of lions? He put their laws of matter to naught by knowing that the perfect man was indestructible. But it is necessary that we do more than declare this truth of perfection. Having done all, stay put, and we see that though Daniel proved the powerlessness of the lions, immediately he entered the den, yet he had to stand there all night. Patience must have her perfect work. So I just thought this was really fascinating because of the whole idea of, you know, it doesn't matter what somebody looks like or what their condition is, they are still made in the image and likeness of the Almighty. It doesn't matter your health, your stature, your physical, construction, like, whether you're an athlete or something else, something lesser, what we judge as lesser, man, woman, child, you know, different races, however you want to slice and dice up humanity. Humans are made in the image and likeness of God, of the Almighty, and are perfect and are equal. Okay, are equal. I think some people really need to get this through their heads. Even sexual orientation. I don't care which way you want to make people appear different. Ultimately, at the core level, they are made in the image and likeness of God, and they are perfect humans. So, this is written perfect man, perfect human, really. This is to update it for today's world. So I thought that is something that maybe my subscribers would find useful and enlightening and, just interesting. So thanks for listening along. If you got this far, please like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.